But today we're going to be talking about overthinking content and hopefully how to not overthink. Can we underthink content stuff? I think that might be our new hashtag is underthink your content. No. Anyway, so my name is Elizabeth Doss, and I am a social media consultant, a content creator, and an animated GIF artist. I help brands and businesses create animated GIFs across social platforms to build community and to harness their thought leadership, increasing engagement all along the way. And my GIFs have been viewed over almost 6 billion times now, Steph. It's at 5.9 something right now. It might even be 6
By the
billion.
by the weekend, it'll be six.
Right. Um, but I've helped my the brands and businesses I've worked with, my clients. We are over 4 billion views for their gifts across social platforms, and so it's been a lot of fun getting to collaborate with some pretty wonderful people, including Stephanie. And so, Stephanie, if you would introduce yourself this morning and also kick off our amazing conversation.
Well, listen, absolutely. And I'm getting caffeinated, so this should be fun. In about 5 minutes, the speed to which I talk will increase, almost guaranteed. Welcome, everyone. Stephanie Gillis-Palgard. I'm the brand architect behind Take Roots Consulting. I help small businesses, nonprofits, really. Listen, get up there, not stand in their way, start using storytelling methods, speak strategy, and build that capacity that they need to be able to create that awareness, drive the conversation, not just online, but offline as well. And again, content creation, how many of us, again, as I put in my post yesterday on LinkedIn, overthink much? Yes, me too. And we're going to talk and break down today some of those more basic, just, and I mean literally step by step, simple approaches that you can take in your business every single day that gets you out of the overthinking mode and the showing up mode. When I was putting my list together, Elizabeth, for today, and thinking through, because I do struggle myself, even though I work with a lot of businesses, a lot of nonprofits, helping them shape their strategy, show up on social media. I find still from my own business, it's, have I used that before? Is it too long? Is it going to flop? What is that new feature that I need to use? And you can go down this rabbit hole of putting yourself not in the driver's seat. So we want to change that. We want to flip it today. And as I say, what are those very easy ways to remove any roadblocks, get you from overthinking to actually showing up? And the first tip I want to share, so I want to, right out of the gate, I just want to dive in to a very practical tip. Think about it this way. If you've said it in a one-on-one, chances are you're going to say it again. And if you're going to say it again and again and again, you might as well make it public. So, a way to think about this is the best content can actually come from your sent folder. So, as you're having these email exchanges with potential or current clients, if you're giving them recommendations, if you're walking them through coachable or teachable moments, chances are, again, that is an FAQ or something that is going to be evergreen, something that you're always going to go back to of, hey, these are my approaches to, this is how I do X, insert whatever that is. So again, if you've said it once in a one-on-one, you're likely to say it again. So if you're likely to say it again, why wouldn't you start saying it publicly? And this is just a mind shift, right? So we talk a lot about FAQs in past conversations, but now look at that sent folder in your inbox. This is a space where content can come from on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And it will likely be evergreen to you, which helps you establish yourself as a thought leader, right? Gives you some credibility and allows you to pull out that content and then break it down. And we'll talk about ways to break it down over the course of today's conversation. But that's just, again, one quick hit right out of the gate. The best content often comes from your sent folder. If you've said it once in a one-on-one, you're likely to say it again. So you might as well say it publicly. What do you think, Elizabeth?
I think
I
I
know
almost,
you're over there pushing all of the buttons.
I
So
am.
I'm going to take over pushing the buttons, and you're going to give me your next tip.
I almost hit the stop button. That's where I'm at this morning, Steph.
Well,
Like,
we're going to push the button, so that's good.
isn't that how we ended the last show? Was me
It
pushing my own
is.
button? That's what
It
I
is.
do. No, no, I think this is a great conversation, and I loved the scent folder because it's such a practical way to think about conversations that you're having on a regular basis. And we've talked about this before, where so to give people a practical example, my one of my clients is a real estate agent, and she talks
Mm-hmm.
about this. How she got comfortable on camera was she would answer her clients' questions with video responses. And I know that's not for everybody, but she was building a particular muscle in that season. So she would answer them with a video answer, and then she would turn the camera on live on her phone and start to maybe not get in the details, protecting her client's information, but there was knowledge that she had that she could then give to people. Steph, I was reading. Actually, I'm going to pull it out because I have the book right here. I'm reading a book. A friend of mine wrote this book, and so I'm working on getting through it. But it's about Dr. George Washington Carver. It's called The Message of the Flower. And I love Dr. Carver. He's the one that did all the inventions with the peanut, but he was a very spiritual person. But he said, if you know the answer, you can have it for the price of a postage stamp. The Lord charges me nothing for knowledge, and I will charge you the same. And he got in a lot of trouble, like back in the day, because he would not take money. Thomas Edison wanted him to come work for him for $100,000 a year, and in the 1920s, that was a really big deal. But he said no, and he never took a paycheck. And the Booker T. Washington wanted him to patent all of his inventions. He came up with 200 inventions for the peanut, the sweet potato, like all these things, different paints, different like all these inventions, and he would not do it because he said the knowledge came to me free. I'm going to share it freely. And so there's a part of this stuff that you can harness the knowledge part to share freely with your community because it establishes credibility, it builds trust, and people start to get to know what it's like to work with you. Now, I do think there's a place where you need to draw the line. If you are creating anything, a product for someone, and there may be industry secrets that you need to keep close, but there's a way for you to start to talk about what you do and those types of things. So I love the send folder for drilling down on those ideas. Now, one thing I was looking at for this morning, I was looking through what are the pain points with overthinking your content, and one of them is perfection paralysis. And this is this idea that it has to be perfect before it goes out. But Stephanie, can I tell you how many ideas are still left in the oh, it's not perfected yet file folder? And I've missed out on that opportunity of sharing those ideas because I never finished it. And so one thing I was thinking about today is how can we reframe the pain points of what we're dealing with in a new way. And so I was looking at this, that a 70% post that goes out into the world, like it totally will always beat 100% post that's still in your draft folder. So it may have something tweaked. Maybe there's a misspelled word. Oh Lord, help us if there's a misspelled word on something. But a lot of times you can even get comments from people that say, "Hey, you misspelled that word." Hey, a comment is a comment. Like I feel like it's the Charlie Chaplin, it's the Marx Brothers. A comment is a comment. Even if it's telling you that you spelled awkward wrong. Why does awkward so hard to spell most of the and government? There's an N in it. Why? Why would they do that to us? Anyway, but this idea of how can I just push the button and send it out into the world? Because guess what? Just like Stephanie said, or maybe she's going to say it in a minute, you can re-share it another time and you can spell it correctly the next time you post it or the next time you reframe it. One thing I wanted to throw this back to you, Steph, because you were talking about this a little bit in our pre-show time, was was the idea of taking a look at pain points, even in the context of your audience in your business, etc., and digging into that. I didn't know if you would be able to jump in there.
Of course. Oh my gosh. Okay, so again, my list, right? We were having so much fun in the green room, as you said, before we hit the go live button. And as I went through my list, thinking about, oh, yes, no, no, I mean, it resonates and it should resonate with people because we know that we ourselves have our own pain points. So I want to position it from the place of start with something that you complain about and then flip it, right? So, what frustrates you in your own space? If you start there and then you turn it into this teachable moment or this truth bomb, or as you said, like give yourself this permission slip. It doesn't need to be perfect. Elizabeth, you often remind me, give yourself like C plus is great. Maybe growing up our parents wanted us to get the A or the A minus whatever, but like content creation, it's tough, it's challenging, there's so many platforms, there's so many new features all the time, it can get really overwhelming, but showing up, already give yourself some grace. So giving yourself that permission slip. So if you're tired of everyone posting like the robots, right? And Richard, who's our friend here, and I know he is watching. He's joined us live on LinkedIn. Don't be boring. Don't be boring, but flip it. So again, start with something that you yourself complain about what's happening in your space, and make it that teachable moment. Use that truth bomb. Bust a myth. Myth busters are so fun, right? If somebody believes something and you're like, no, like based on my X amount of years experience or my latest campaign or. So now you're personalizing it again. It goes back to what you were saying about establishing credibility with your audience. You're giving them that personalized approach to what you experience when you go into a very first intro call, Elizabeth, with another real estate agent or another restaurateur that is looking to personalize and create these little moments of joy via customized gifts, right? They might have some misunderstandings about how to use them, how they show up. Ooh, is that too much? But then through the educational piece or the truth bombs or the myth busting, you're able to establish yourself, not just with the great offering that you have, but working and establishing that relationship with a client, whether it's a potential client or an existing client, and expanding maybe on that service offering that you haven't been able to touch with them yet. So again, there's a lot of opportunity in something that is a frustration to you right now, or a complaint, or a wish you wish people would do things differently. Show them how to do it. So flip it on its head and create the content to answer the question. Back over to you, Elizabeth.
Oh, that's good. That's good. What would you complain about? What do you complain about the most? And it's actually a really great place for you to farm the content for your community too, is starting to look at what they're complaining about the most in the context of the, what solutions that you provide, etc. Because this is even a hack into the SEO world, of thinking about what is someone typing into search that I'm the solution for. You have to get out, you have to disembody yourself. I always say disembowel, and that's not appropriate. You have to
Not that. Don't do that.
disembowel yourself. Disembody yourself from the fact that you have solutions that could help people, and try to remember what it was like to not have those solutions, and what are people searching for, again, that you are the answer for. And it's a great place for you to farm content to be able to frame that question to help people, because they may not even know that they're dealing with something that would help with. So one of uh, the things, so Richard's texting me to Stephanie, and last year when we met up in Oxford, we went to this, it's the Randolph Hotel, anyway, the restaurant, and it is called the Alice, because Lewis Carroll went to Oxford, and so it is basically the Mad Hatter Tea Party. It's these pink tufted couches, and all the artwork is from Alice in Wonderland. It's a super cool spot. But we were talking, and um, I kind of was on Richard, because I was saying, you're because he has said this phrase that when he tries to be something, he's less of himself. And I was just talking to him about that he doesn't have to be perfect on camera because we don't want perfect. We want Richard. Like I don't want perfect. I want Stephanie. And so but we get caught up in our own ideas, and one of the things I was looking at is the fear of judgment. That's a huge deal for people posting online, especially if your friends and family follow your social accounts and other stuff. There's this huge like way that you put on these glasses that say, oh, this is how my friends and family are going to see me. And you have to take that off and set it aside because they may not be the people that you're coming for, and there's somebody on the other side of this little screen that needs to hear your voice and needs to hear from you, needs to hear your voice say the things that will fit into their ear. And they don't need it from Joe Schmo down the street that's pretending to have it all together, even though it's a hot mess on the other side of the camera. They need somebody who's going to be real with them and have real solutions. So, if the idea is if it feels true to you, then it's going to reach more people. And this idea of there's so much stuff about niching down uh, and all of that, and trying to get to your target market. And I was reading something this morning, Steph, and I know I'm going to pass it back to you in a second for this, but I was reading that people that have multi passions, like myself, who does like all this different. There's this idea that I can't show that part of me in this context, and yet that's simply not true. And what I loved about this article was like, if you may you may be able to touch and draw people from that, but when you get to the offer that you're doing, that's when you need to get very specific about who you serve and who you don't serve. But in the context of showing up online, you're allowed to show all the different facets because it's a part of who you are. Now, what's concerning is if you have more than one business that is trying to function simultaneously in that space, and that's where it can get a little sticky trying to sort through certain things. So anyway, you were talking earlier about niching and that idea, and so I wanted to throw it back to you.
Well, I mean, you know what's interesting about that is I actually find myself in that exact piece that you just explained. I can wear my Take Roots hat. I can wear my grassroots racing hat as the RD and the business owner there. I can wear my hat as Stephanie, the TikTok dancer that literally didn't want to be found by anybody who knew me on TikTok, because that was my place during COVID to just break out and have some fun. And we had some fun creating GIFs. The Don't Dance Like Steph, that was hilarious and still used somewhat today. But it is true, right? But it's all still part of who I am. And by deciding how to show up, this is why I like a platform like Instagram as an example. On Take Roots, sure, you're seeing a lot of what I do in my feed for my clients, and I want to be a cheerleader for my clients. And of course, when I'm celebrating their wins, it does signal that Take Roots has played somewhat of a part in doing that. But where I can show up more as me, and I think the fun side of me, not always, you'll see it sometimes in the feed, but in the stories or in the reels, and being able to bring a little bit more of that. Well, yeah, I am a runner, an injured runner right now, but a runner nonetheless. Or other pieces of me, because that will connect with people differently. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, now I understand why she does this or this, or why she's always talking about being fully caffeinated, because I love my lattes. This has actually been and has been part of my branding. This is who Stephanie is. If you want to get a sense of Stephanie's energy level, and if you're debating whether or not you can Is she too much for you? I'm too much for a lot of people. But I know that about myself, but I can't hide that part of me because I come with that energy and that excitement and that passion when I work with clients. And so I want to find the right match too. So it's really important to be able to understand how to use the platforms that you're on to be able to show those pieces of yourself and not get lost in all of it. One of the things I wanted to circle back to as we continue to move through this conversation is another tip. I often find people will say, well, I'm not good at writing captions, or I'm just not good at writing. And so, whether it's short form, long form, blogs, newsletters, articles, things of this nature, it got me thinking about, okay, well, like, how do we switch their mind, on that? Because you don't need to be a great writer, but you still need to show up as yourself. So if you find that it's the writing that's holding you back from showing up and you want to take advantage of some of these, again, unbelievably great tools, certainly on LinkedIn now, being able to post articles or being able to start a newsletter, but writing just it doesn't feel right. Start with a voice memo. Say it. Talk it out loud. If writing again is where you tend to overthink, because that's the whole idea behind this conversation, talk it instead. Record your take, transcribe it, and then clean it up, and then it's done. And then hit that post or that publish. So again, there's always ways to use the tools that are available to us. We're all walking around a lot these days with phones, so why not use the voice memo function? And then now with ChatGPT and other tools like Chat, you can go ahead and talk into Chat and just say, like, these are my thoughts around this particular topic, or this is the pain point I often find that my clients experience when they're doing fund development, when they're trying to establish an event, when they're trying to launch a product. And again, based on what it is that you're trying to educate, a teachable moment, an FAQ, an evergreen piece of content, all of those things, talk it instead. And then you have the ability to record the take, transcribe the take, clean it up, and hit that done, that save, that publish, go live, whatever the case may be. There's lots of ways to get out of your head and use the tools that are readily available, and they don't cost you anything but your time. So if you're out walking and you have a great idea on a piece of content, voice note it to yourself. Easy peasy and done. Back over to you, Elizabeth.
Yes. Oh, I love that stuff. Because I was just playing with my phone, and I'm not going to try to pull up screens today. Not going to do it. But um, I was listening to a conversation the other day, and Jordan Silverman, he's CEO of Starfish. It's a app tech company, but he was talking about how he will set up his phone, because like the new iPhones have an action button that you can set up a new action with. And I have mine set to camera because I need to get practiced in using it. But you can set that button up to be anything. And for his, he set up it to be, you could do it a voice memo thing. So you don't even have to open your phone. You can just hit that button and it'll turn the voice memo thing. It'll just start it. So let's say you're out and about and you're moving from one thing to another and an idea hits, or you are just wanting to process, you could set up that action button to quickly open up your voice memo. But the other thing is, there's a thing on your iPhones called shortcuts, I think is what it's called, and you can do your own little tech stack of things that it opens up a new note that opens up the voice memo part of the note that will transcribe it, and then I think you may even be able to say, take this transcription into Chat GPT. Like, you can start to stack up those things. And so look into that. That came out, I think, several months ago, about setting up shortcuts that are a workflow, basically, that it does the next thing. So look into it. Some of you might find that very interesting. But this idea of where is the entrance into content that is the least resistant for you? Some people, it is writing. For me, in writing, sitting down to type with a blank page I freeze up. Sitting down with a pen and paper, I can scratch all day and like get all the ideas down on flow of consciousness, and I don't have to worry about formatting and it changing the words into other words and like all these things. So my entrance into writing is grabbing a pen and paper. For James, for my husband, he can sit down and just start typing. I cannot do that. But for other people, the entrance may be just the conversation. And even for some stuff, I think turning on the voice memo might still be a little bit intimidating. So the other idea is, if you do Zoom calls or you are doing a phone call, turning on the voice memo that's on your, put your phone on speaker, turn the voice memo on your laptop or whatever, and record your conversations with your clients. Now, you can tell them that you're recording it, by the way. Also, when you're on a call, I'm going to, hopefully he can hear me. I'm going to show you this really quick. I'm going to call James real quick. But when you call someone on your phone, so um, when you're on the call, in this top corner, it's a voice memo thing. You can hit that button and it's going to say, it's about to announce this call is being is being recorded, and it'll start recording it and it's adding it to my notes, and so you can see what I'm talking about, whatever. Okay, I'm going to stop it. When I head over, bye James. When I head over to my notes, it says call with James, and when I tap it, it pulls it up, but at the bottom there's a little transcription button, and it will transcribe. um, oh, there's no transcript because he didn't say anything, because he knows not to say anything if I'm on the call. But
Yeah,
if the whole
nothing to
conversation,
transcribe, but we get it. I mean, like, how
you
cool
can
is that? Now,
transcribe it.
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
just for clarity, is this again? Remember, Stephanie, not the most tech savvy person on all of the updates, or forgetting to do the updates on my phone. Is this a new thing for people that are watching on replay? Uh, how do they know? How do they know if they've got that feature or not?
So yeah, so first off, it is, I mean, I did just get a new iPhone, so there is that. But I did have the feature on my last iPhone, which was a couple generations back. So it is an update in the iOS like software, but I don't think you have to have a new phone to be able to do it. Now, you do have to make sure that you're abiding by the laws of your country and of your state. In our state in South Carolina, you can record any call that you're a part of, and you don't have to tell the other person if you are, like, if you're in the conversation. With this, it announces to the other party that the call is now being recorded. So I do want to just cover that part of it.
Good
Um,
caveat.
so you might want to ask for permission before you hit the record button, because you might freak some people out that you're with your spyware. But no, you, so if it's not showing up for you, I recommend that you make sure that your iOS, your software is up to date. You just go to your settings, and at the top bar it'll say if it needs to be updated. You can also turn your phone off and back on. This is the same if there's updates in apps that you're not seeing that other people are. Then go and just shut down the app, but then also shut down your phone and turn it back on, and make sure you go to the app store, search that particular app, and sometimes it won't show up until you actually click into the app that you've chosen. Like Instagram, I'll search Instagram in my applications, and then I need to tap on the Instagram app window so it's the full screen, and a lot of times then it'll show update, and so then I can click the Instagram update button and it will redo that. I do not recommend deleting apps off your phone to do them, because like Steph in the past, it can delete all of the drafts that you've created, etc. So you might want to make sure to do that. Okay, but that's so
No,
my
thank
whole
you for
point
that.
in that is what is the entrance, the lowest barrier of resistance that you have to starting to create content, and then how can you match it up after the fact. So if you start with writing, then you might want to find an image that correlates with that. If you start with an image, then you want to think through, how does this represent an idea that I want to get across to my clients. So back to you, Steph.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So we're getting ready to wrap, or we've come to the end of our time today, but I want to leave with another tip. And, again, it is what it is. It's all about, and you've heard niche, that term over and over and over again. I'm sure people watching live or on the replay have as well. I want to highly encourage you, and by you, I mean the audience, and it's a nice friendly reminder for Elizabeth and myself. You don't need a niche, you need a point. You need to stop stressing about niching down or is it too narrow, and you need to start showing up with consistency and clarity because that's what makes you memorable. And people follow for clarity, they don't, not necessarily the categories. So again, just a strong encouragement. You don't need a niche. You need a point. You need to show up with clarity and consistency, and that's what makes you memorable. So if there's one takeaway today, it's that. We want to remind you that Cultivate Weekly happens every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. You can follow us along on YouTube. We have all of our last or past episodes on there as well, and we'll of course be sharing out the replay. So we do hope that you've enjoyed the conversation. If you have topics or questions, feel free to reach out to us. We love it, and we will see you back here on Cultivate Weekly next Tuesday. Over to you, Elizabeth, for any last and final thoughts.
Well, first off, we got to cups up it, right? Cheers to you, Steph. No, this is a great conversation, and full transparency for myself. We talk about this all the time, but like Stephanie is awesome at grinding out content in the middle of major projects. Like I can't. I look at you and I'm like, I don't even. How in the world is she doing this? Because it's a struggle. Like I am struggling to post on my own content. I was looking at it the other day. I think my last post was a month or two ago. So I just need to. I'm not coming to you from a place of, I got my stuff together. Now I do have clients. I've posted a lot for clients, but I have not had extra to give towards my own stuff. And you need to be kind to yourself in these things. Show up when you can. Don't be under that pressure to always be there, or do the bare minimum, which may be just reposting content that you've posted in the past. Because the truth of the matter is, only a portion of your audience probably saw that first post. So if you're posting again, you're gonna hit a whole different group of people, because it's a different day, it's a different time, and so give yourself grace and make space for yourself. And the last thing I want to say, Steph, is I was looking through some old photos from years ago and travels and other things, and realizing how many stories I haven't told that are just piled up in the back. So you don't have to go on a brand new grand adventure. Go farm some of the old stuff and tell us the story of what happened in and around that, because you have a whole lot on here of your photos, videos of things that have happened or that might trigger a memory to be able to grab those things. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful and happy Tuesday, and we will catch you the next time on Cultivate Weekly. See you later. Oh, I should sip.